Hello, everyone. Let's get some 15 seconds maybe post lunch to settle down. It's the first session of this block. And thank you for everyone who's attending. I know there's a lot of interesting things going on. So hello to the session. My name is Michał Buczyński from Wikimedia Poland, C-Hub, and a number of other things. So it will be a brief introduction to good governance and the concept of the governance. What we are really talking about when we are requesting people or encouraging people to have some good governance. Because of the room, it's not the workshop, and because it's televised, so some case studies did not make it. But I'm hoping that the messaging will be clear. And if you have any questions, if you have any prompt questions, just raise the hand. I'm not sure how it's audible because I hear the reverb all the time. Oh, let's go. Technical issue. So, what is this governance anyway? Because we are using this term very often, and sometimes it's a little bit unclear. Um, so there is this website called Wikipedia that you can check things on. And when I was actually preparing this presentation, I figured out that in Polish language and in many other languages, including Turkish or Czech or Slovak, even the article governance itself, it does not exist. It's not that it's brief, it's faulty, it requires work. It simply does not exist. You may check up your own language, what you can learn about this governance. So we can go to the English Wikipedia, and I don't think that English Wikipedia is very sure what this governance is about neither. So the first sentence, even the beginning of the article, it should be very clear, crystal clear about the concept, right? So the very first sentence, and it's not even the first part of the article, is 96 words, which look like a word salad. And we have a lot of links. We have a lot of big things like governance is the overall complex system of framework of processes, functions, structures, rules, laws, norms, everything. So it's too long even to read it, but it's very scary. Complex systems, decision making, resources, actors, processes, yada, yada, yada. Other things, very difficult to digest. And not only these big words are being used to say what it is, but also to say where it's being used. So we know that this is about the government. It's about the public sector, about corporates, administrations, non-governmental organizations, social society, individuals, international, local, everything. Once again, big and scary. But still, you are being required, and I'm being required, and everyone is being required to actually have the good governance. And if it is this scary, what we can do about it. So let's try to untangle it a bit. Let's take it by pieces. What we really mean here is decision making, that's we heard, how we are actually deciding what to do, what not to do, how we are doing things. Roles and responsibilities. So it says who is doing things, who is actually making these decisions, and how they are responsible for what they are doing. Who is making them responsible? It's very important, actually, that if you have power, you have some responsibility coming with it. We have laws, but also we have norms and agreements. So it's very important to understand that it's not only the written law or something that you have set, but also the things how we are doing, how we are actually making decisions in the country. That, for instance, everyone understands that before you make a decision, you should go and just ask around the people or senior people, basically. This is how we do it. This is also the norm. And communication and documentation. So how you're actually informing about those things, how you're asking people, how you're actually presenting what you have done, and the decisions that you have made. And having said it, why should I even care? I mean, I am here as I was talking yesterday with Asaf and Franz and a number of other people that we are here to actually do stuff, right? We were here to write articles, we were here to make an editathon, we were here to do some community work, we would just do some admin work. So why do I even care about these rules and norms and decision making and so on? I'm not a politician myself. So the thing is that we all here are, I think, to make some change. So some of us wanted to present the sum of human knowledge. Some of us just wanted to encourage people to collaborate in a new way on these wikis or non-wikis, but it's very different than a normal society. Some people want to preserve their culture. They have the language, maybe very minor language, and they have their traditions and artifacts of the culture, and they want to just preserve it online and make it viable, make it going. Other people love free licensing and how we are doing things in this new world, and they want to teach the world how to change themselves. Other wants to do something with the institutional partners. Some others just want to have fun, and this is their hobby. There are a lot of motivations, but all of these people want to make change. And if we want to make change, we figured out that actually the group writes an encyclopedia much faster than a single person. I think we can agree on this fact. Even if we love this hobby and we like to write articles ourselves, we think that if there is more of us, we will do it better. Uh, the outcomes will be just better, more balanced when there is more of us and we discuss things. It's more sustainable, so if I disappear, someone will be carrying on the work. I don't need to do it myself. When there is more of us and we are visible, we can transform the world. Basically, the other institutions see how we are doing things. We can change the copyright, we can change other laws, free speech, freedom of panorama, a lot of things that the people are actually fighting for. We can have some help from the institutions. If I'm a single person, not many museums, libraries, governments will talk with me. If we are the movement, there is a lot of us, and we have resources, then that is another story. And the other thing is the more the merrier. So it's more fun, basically, when I have a hobby and the other people have the same hobby than me. That's what we've learned very fast. So if doing the Wikimedia is not a solitary activity and it shouldn't be for one person, we need to make sure that the environment of doing this activity, doing the Wikimedia, is reasonable to participate. So we have some clear rules, we have some clear responsibilities, who is doing what and that they really should be doing it. And there should be some clear decision making. So I actually know who will be deciding on my work or the works of my colleagues and how they are doing it and what I can really do with it. Like I'm having an article and what do I do that this article will not be deleted, right? So it's pretty important. If it's not clear, nobody will participate for that longer than 5 or 15 minutes. So it's pretty damn important. Funny thing is that online projects, which seem to be very anarchical and not so organized, they're distributed, they are just people behind the computers, they mostly got it right. And they got it right very, very early from the start. Maybe this is why we are successful. So think about Wikipedia. We have user roles, and everybody knows who is who. Like it's public. We know who is an administrator and can delete things. We know who is some power editor. Particular Wikipedias and other projects, when they got larger and larger, they created more and more roles. So you have these structures, right? You have these bureaucrats and stewards, and maybe trusted editors and less trusted editors, and so on and so forth. Everything is public. There is a whole structure of these roles. You have a lot of content policies. So you can go and you can read up if I should even bother writing about this thing or I should not. Or is it okay to do it in this way or it's not really okay? The bigger the project, and the more problems they had, the more policies they have. The same with the management. So how I do these things like deletion or banning people, how we are actually electing ourselves and making these policies, like what is the voting, how we are voting, when we are voting, a lot of stuff like that, and communication channels. You have all those village pumps, but also you have some aggregators. You have the direct, like the administrator's notice board. Um, you have some technical spaces, other spaces when you have a lot of documentation about the past decisions being made, and everything is public. So not everything is easily readable, but considering that it's mostly volunteer done, it's pretty impressive how well documented and knowledge managed it is. If you work in any public administration or in any corporate world, especially, and you know maybe how often a lot of resources go into knowledge management and how badly it's being done. So sometimes how very difficult it is to find out what are the internal policies and who made it and what made it and where I even find the form for that. So on online projects, we are pretty well done. The bigger problem is with offline groups. So the issues are somewhat larger because now we have money. Now we have all these things like trademarks, copyright, things like that. We have some um, outside world activities and responsibilities coming from that. So there is a lot of danger here and there. But we are smaller, we have less experience, and let's say that this governance is very often not that elaborate, advanced as online. So what do we do? What do we do really about it? And maybe now the question. So how many of you actually are on some kind of a chapter board, user group board, in any role like that? You can raise a hand if you will. Don't be shy. Any of you? No one? No one really? Martin, I think that you were, huh? Yes, only two of you. So maybe now you will see some challenges that the people who are doing it are facing, but maybe also I would encourage you to actually take part in these activities if you see that these problems can be solved one by one. And what is very important, you don't need to solve all of them all at once and by yourself. Somehow some people do this governance and they survived. So maybe it can be also you, and maybe it's not even that bad for you. So the governance. The governance first, it can be you. So if you can, or if you want to start something, or do something better, you can take the ownership. And this is very important. So the first thing is people who will be actually doing this governance. The governance is not being done in a void. There need to be people who are actually caring for that. Otherwise, it's not working. So if you even think that you are not this kind of a person and you want to get things going, you can find other people who actually can be talked into doing the governance. This doesn't need to be you. Other thing is that you don't need to start big. You can start with not a rocket, but maybe creating a skateboard. I don't know if you want to travel. Making a rocket or even a car is difficult, but having a skateboard, so having just the board and some wheels attached, I think that everyone, all of us could figure it out more or less how to do this thing. Maybe with some YouTube clips or some other help of other people. Um, so start small. The important thing is that in the governance, you always will be balancing rules and practicality. So in one hand, you will be listening that you need to apply a lot of control and checks. You need to have a procedure for this and that and so on and so forth. But in practice, you need to be, once again, practical. A lot of things are being done without any written procedures and without having the best let's say, official system, and they work. And I will show you why. First thing, some pro tip if you want to do that. Whatever you do, uh, you need to be clear. Be clear with the rules that you're setting on, or you want to have. Be clear with your expectations that you're having from other people and from yourself. Probably the worst thing is a lack of clarity what the people are really being expected. And then the confusion and the surprises when someone will get angry. When you form this group, define the goals and principles, what we are really trying to achieve and how, what's important for us. So like, who makes these decisions and how the people really can get involved. Like you want to have a, let's say, group of cat photographers, because there is a lot of cat photographers. You may define the rules, like what you're doing with these pictures, how you're uploading them, but also who will be the president and how the president of the cat photographers group will be really elected and how I can join. And pretty important thing and not so pleasant is how accountability will be held. So if things go wrong, what we do about it. The thing is that you don't need to be harsh. So we are the volunteer movement. We don't want to punish people. We want to cherish people, we want to reward people. But nevertheless, it's good to just say, maybe even say that we are not punishing people too much, basically, for some things. Maybe it's good to say that. Documentation, so putting these things so the other people can come online or offline and read up and join, it's pretty helpful. But let's say it's not so necessary. It's once again practicality rule. Other thing, and maybe the most important, the trust. The thing is that a lot of things will be based on trust anyway. You cannot control everything. You will not be double checking and triple checking everything. You need to trust the people, the institutions, the rules, the reasoning that you're having. With the trust, you make things much, much faster. With the trust, people get motivated. Without trust, not so much. Rather contrary. So it is more important to gather the right people from the start and keep them gathering, the people that you can trust, and keep on investing in the trust and shared values. So you need to listen to the people, you need to talk to the people, you need to keep them motivated and also explain what you're doing, what you're trying to achieve. You need to be clear, transparent, and then they may trust you and they may join the cause that you are fighting for or you're trying to push. Otherwise, I don't know. So working, discussing trust and shared values are, is the basics. Other things, but trust is trust, but as German colleague says, Vertrauen is good, control is better. So control is better. Well, trust is good, but control is a better thing. Avoid monopolies. People can be trusted, but maybe do not put too much in their hands and solely in their hands. Um, Power, information, other resources. This is something that rather should be shared among the larger number of people. So maybe use your trust and put your trust in a bigger number of persons. Sometimes it can be hard because we all know that, I don't know, the president of the organization is the most trusted person, so he will be or she will be the best person to deal, for instance, with the employees, but still be open to allow the other people let in, contribute, step up, step up to the role. That was fast. The one very important thing is that we are talking about the organization, and the organization is not the one-man show or one-woman show. So we need to share the things. That's why it's very important to be inviting. Uh, Please make sure that the right people can join you if they want, and actively try making them included, because this is basically investing in your future. We will be gone someday, sooner or later. We may want to move on to some more interesting things, but it will be cool if these things will be running up, even as the legacy. And if the things are not right, maybe the last step, don't be afraid of speaking up. It's important. It's pretty easy to ignore things. We all do some things that are not right. But sometimes when we see these monopolies of power, just bad, meaningless structure, that the things that shouldn't be done like that, like the one person, for instance, running a chapter and isolating all the others from making the decisions or, or coming to the conferences like that, you may want to mm, share your concerns with other people, with other colleagues. Maybe one thing, one case study. Um, you can see the org chart of an organization. In the top, you have an executive director. Below this is the vice executive director. And as it happens that this is the spouse actually of an executive director of the organization. And then you have regular staffers, a number of them. And this is the org chart, and everyone seems to be happy with this, let's say, arrangement. And do you see any problems with that? I know. What would you do if you see that in practice? I see some concern basically, but nobody is active to really speak up. So, but why the spouse? What about the executive director? I mean, either or both. Yes, I believe so, but it's not like it was a random occurrence. I mean, normally you recruit a person and you not even let it happen, you make it happen, right? So it's like a family business, basically. Um, long story short is that let's say that this situation has been remediated and let's say that both managerial positions have been depleted or um, the organization was looking for a new executive director. Um, the system was very problematic because obviously not only some power was monopolized here, and the staffers in the organization they were denied the proper management because they had both managerial positions basically working very closely together. Um, the same could be said about the other stakeholders, the other members of the organization, that they were not being served properly. So if you see some strange structures like that, maybe it's not the question to fire the bullet at the first minute, but certainly it's something to make inquiries and ask questions and ask a lot of questions. Why is it even like that? And what are you really trying to achieve? Because for me, this kind of a structure does not make sense. Like, why even we have the two managerial positions over there? Like, so going to the end, um, one more case study and a pro tip. As they say that the good artists make and great artists steal, and don't be afraid of not reinventing the wheel and basically making lessons from the other organizations or ready tools that are being available. Very often you are not the only organization like that in the world, and you're not the first people with some kind of a problem in the world. So someone had this problem and probably someone even solved it properly. Mm. So you can make some informed research and find some solutions that actually seem to be working. It's important to not find any solutions because in the world you also have a lot of malfunctioning organizations and the solutions that will not be working for you because they are from a different context and they will never work for you. So make the good reasoning if this is really what you need, but still having the informed research can be good. And ask for help. So we are here and we have a conference like that. There is a number of other organizations in the movement. You have the Wikimedia Foundation, you have the C Hub, you have the other chapters, you have colleagues, so you can ask around, um, and we would be willing to help you. As simple as that. Maybe last thing, the C Hub case. Now we have a number of workshops. Maybe you have participated in Izmir. There was this discussion about the C Hub evolving the governance. So if you participated, you could hear that actually only now, in the third year, fourth year, we are thinking about how to actually define the membership of the C Hub. So C Hub is actually working without even some most basic traditional governance structures. And it's still working. So how is it going? Um, in our case, the C Hub was built on years of cooperation. So firstly, we built trust and we have built, let's say, the community of purpose. We knew what we more or less want to achieve. We found the other people who wanted to achieve the same thing. We discussed a lot and lots and lots how we are going to do it and who's doing what. So we started doing things with a very minimum structure, with using the help that we could get. In our case, it was the fiscal sponsorship from Wikimedia Poland, which allowed us to backstab or maybe avoid a lot of governance questions. We didn't need to organize as the even legal organization because we had a legal sponsor. We didn't need to create the banking account, make the HR process by ourselves, how to really do the legal work to hire a person, because we had a legal sponsor. And it's fine. Using the help is fine. This is the smart way of doing things if you can do it. We had the Wikimedia Foundation support, so we didn't need to fundraise by ourselves. We could discuss a lot of things that we are trying to achieve, also on the other organization, and we were willing to learn on the go and evolve. But now we are trying to evolve, so also you are more than welcome to participate in giving us the feedback and giving us the information what you really want and what you would like to achieve with the C Hub by yourselves. This is also part of this building trust. So we are putting our trust in the movement. We want to support you and all the activities. And we are also willing to ask you for the trust and support and information what you want to do. And that's it. I think that this is some kind of a governance in the very making, as we said, and a very smart definition on Wikipedia says that it's not only about the laws and rules, but also about the norms and some social collaborations in practice. Any questions? Maybe one question? I'm fully done. Thank you then.